Hi, so for my student discovery, I chose to look into Black Friday because obviously we just had the holidays and we had to experience yet another Black Friday. And to me, I find it interesting because right after a day we spend being thankful and grateful for what we have, we stampede over other people to get a good deal. And so I wanted to find out if any other countries did that other than the US cuz you don't really hear about the UK having the big um Black Friday stampedes that we do. And I found this article on the History Channel that was actually the history of Black Friday, which I thought was pretty interesting. And it mostly came back and it started in Canada, not even the US. And then the US, well, Macy's kind of took it over and it exploded from there. And I just find it interesting that the US as a culture, we just try to be the financial big dog, I feel. And we show people up with what we can buy compared to people in other cultures. I feel like the US culture is a lot of a materialistic item culture, and this is something that kind of thrives that more so than what other countries may have. And to me, I find it interesting that people don't have a problem injuring others just to get a good deal on the TV. And for us, well, not everybody here obviously, but for a lot of people, that's normal. We're used to seeing people get trampled on Black Friday. We're oh, yep, that's Black Friday, that's what happens. And it makes me think back to, I think it was the first or second week of class when we watched the video of the train and everybody just cramming inside the doors, and all of us thinking oh my gosh, that'd be so claustrophobic, that's uncomfortable to watch. But to them, that's their normal. And I feel that people looking in on us are oh my gosh, that's so terrible. And it's kind of the same situation, but reversed. And I just find that interesting. And that relates back to our class with how, our social and, comfortability levels with certain things that we find normal compared to what other people don't. And it also kind of made me think back, well, obviously to our traditions, because I mean, that's kind of become a tradition in our culture. I mean, when you buy a phone now in your calendar, it shows Black Friday in the calendar right after Thanksgiving. So it's something that's kind of just been adopted, and that's where we've been at for years, and it hasn't seemed to stop. It just seems to invade into our holidays even more, because it used to be, what, 5 a.m. the day of, then it went to midnight on Thanksgiving, and then it went to 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. And I feel just how we view what's important is showing more and more each year, and how the generations of our culture itself has changed. And I just found that interesting as a whole. And I just thought Black Friday was something that it's an interesting, I don't think it's an ideal, but an interesting cultural activity that a lot of us participate in, and everyone else kind of looks at us like we're crazy, and we kind of are for doing it. But I don't know, I just think it's something that has exploded way more than the retailers who thought of it ever figured it would, or they hope. Because I don't feel that when retailers had the idea of Black Friday, they would envision people trampling themselves to get a good deal. And I feel like how people act, it reverts us in a way. I feel we go from being oh, well, pushing and shoving into people isn't culturally acceptable, that's not okay, that's rude, we consider that rude. But on this one day where we can get a good deal to have an advantage or something for ourselves, those ideals and those like views kind of get pushed out the window. So that's my opinion. And I just thought that was interesting, and that kind of related back to what we've kind of been discussing the entire semester, just with our ideals and culture and our comfortability with things. So yeah, thank you.